Here we go. Oh, welcome, welcome, welcome to our Monday morning Global Heart Resonance call. And so deeply honored to have all of you here. It's a really powerful time of coming together and aligning with the magnificence of the unified field itself. And we come together in deep heart resonance, really focused and building this field of coherence and love towards this whole world view. Just feel into that, just the sense of whole, your sense of whole. So this morning, I'm going to start out with a resonance, and June was supposed to be here with me, but we'll work with that and just hold her in the field. And I'll describe more about this call. But this morning, for most of us have been on this call has been going for over 6 years, and recently we opened it up publicly. And today we're aligning with the energies of this moon, which is the trust moon, this full moon, and the 8-8 Lion's Gate. So again, inviting everyone to put yourselves on mute, and I'll invite you to this call. So let's begin simply with taking a few collective breaths. And allowing ourselves to just drop into this state of rest. Oh, fantastic. June, you just came on perfectly on time. Welcome. Okay. Okay. So again, some of us might be experiencing some of this little bit of this sense of really wanting to deepen and different distractions or disruptions coming in. But ultimately, they're here to allow us to drop in deeper. So, June, I'm wondering if you want to do the resonance since you just got on. I was going to just dive in, but would you like to?
I would love to. I'm sorry, I'm a little late. Something went wrong with my
oh my goodness,
my arm. So, but I'm here. So, all righty.
Oh.
So why don't we all close our eyes, let all the cells of our body relax, and just begin taking some nice, slow, deep breaths. And just feel your beingness, that very part of you, lift out of your physical body and slowly and gracefully begin to flow around that trust moon, that very special moon. And then imagine moving through the Lion's Gate, reclaiming the authenticity of all that you hold and be. And as you feel yourself flowing and allowing your clear, open heart to breathe in the incredible abundance of trust and the art of giving. That art of giving is always available to each of us. And always remember that we teach by example, by our grace in offering our love and trust to others. Just continue breathing deeply and slowly to dispel any doubt. And know, feel, and trust that there is always enough. Always enough. As we deepen our awareness of how much we have to be grateful, we let go of any doubts or limitations of not having enough or being enough. And we open to the tremendous potential of trust in ourselves and our universe, and the goodness in all of our hearts. When we remember to give, We open to the unlimited abundance, receiver of love, trust, and all. Feel that translucent glow of the trust moon fill you, and let it into everybody. You literally become trust. Imagine riding those moonbeams out to all those and sentient in today, and all of the hearts connecting to this call. And then ride the beams back into your own hearts and pause to give gratitude, trust, and love, and slowly come present. Aho.
Shelley, you're on mute.
It's funny, I muted June and I forgot to unmute. Thank you. All right. So welcome everyone, and thank you for that beautiful opening, June. So this morning we're gathering together as really planetary stewards for the good of the whole. And we're here cultivating this sense of wholeness and really embodying this expression through the field as we are whole beings contributing to and in service of a greater whole. So welcome everyone, and welcome people that are new and who are just coming on. Just going to share a couple of guidelines. So stay within that frequency that June opened this call with, as we're really opening together into our infinite potential here. And so just for those that are new, if your cell phone, you can swipe left if you've gotten on the Zoom app to see everyone. We invite that. And as well, if you're on the computer, on the top right-hand side, you can move, it says speaker view or whatever, the gallery view, and you can do that as well. So just giving people a heads up. So today's call is really the 8th lunation. This is the trust moon. And I'm sure we all can relate to that, that we're all being called to deepen into this cellular nature of who we be inside of this sense of movement. And there's been so much. So the beauty of this call is that everyone gets to participate. And we invite you to do that through sharing 1 to 2 minutes when you feel the impulse to call in. Just to say your name for those that are on the call who can't, who are on their phones, who can't see. And that together we're consciously listening for what is evolving in the field in this moment. So really speaking in present time and listening for that thread, how that current of energy is moving, and speaking to that. And acknowledging this beautiful pause, this liminal space that happens in between each speaker. And this is where we get the information from the field. We feel that sense of ignition and activation in our sharing. So just hold those few guidelines as I read into today's resonant reflection. So today is really this opportunity to transform any scarcity of doubt into the sense of peace and trust. So this is a beautiful little poem written by Tara Singh to start this morning. So, to give is ever possible. There's no lack in it. This is the lesson we all need to learn, and we are learning it by teaching. because it is our own doubt that limits us. That's the issue of our time. We're learning and must transform the scarcity of doubt to the peace of trust. We are rewarded with this tremendous potential and the power of our gratefulness, which undoes every obstacle of limitation. And as we're moving into this August moon, this is the most creative phase. It's called the Gibbous moon. And we have the opportunity to analyze and look at our actions, revise them, and make creative adjustments. And in this time, it's a really feeling for that pause in our daily lives, finding that through walking in nature. So this morning, let's take a look at this collective pause and rest in the truth of our gnosis, shifting our experience from doubt to deeper trust for ourselves, and here on this call for the collective. We're really doing this for the collective. So taking a beautiful breath at this point. There's a lot of people on this morning, which is fantastic, and speaking 1 to 2 minutes when you feel that call. For those of you that are new, you'll really be able to taste this current present moment through the gifts and expressions of each person here. So welcome again, everyone. And let's see, we have this beautiful crystal to pass, this virtual crystal that we can pass to each other. So welcome, and I'm going to put myself on mute, and feel free to jump in when you feel that impulse. And I'm complete.
I'll go. This is Sue. What's alive for me right now is that trust that you're talking about, Shelley. I just came back from an incredible weekend in Chautauqua, and sang in a Negro spiritual gospel choir workshop for the weekend. We rehearsed Friday night all day Saturday, and then sang on Sunday, and it was just a complete and total weekend of trust. So how perfect to be moving into this particular moon. And I'm back in my own home right now, but it feels so empty in a way, as if I'm not really here. And I'm looking at my things and thinking, I don't need anything with this, now that you're naming it, with this trust in life. And we sang about it, we sang to it, we sang with it, and it just lifted me really to the moon, and I partly don't even feel like I'm back, and this earthly surrounding, I'm grateful for it, of course, and I'm dwelling in it for the time being. But this is such a perfect connection. I didn't anticipate this was going to happen this morning. So it's all part of this new journey of trust. I'm glad that you have given a name to it for me, because I will be cultivating it as a seed from now on. Thank you. I'm complete.
This is Oriana. I was just noticing the crystal, the talking stick. And even though you said it was virtual, what I wanted to share was the feeling of the talking stick, like feeling into the crystal that Shelley was holding. And I was noticing that the call of when we felt called to speak was really anchored in the crystal. as you were holding it, Shelley, there was a sense of it being imbibed with this perfect dance, like an ordering that was inherently within the moment unfolding. And each of us would be called to speak at the timing that was most appropriate. So I just wanted to really share that there is a feeling to it, even as a virtual talking stick. There's a feeling that's even deeper in the heart. I'm complete. This is Oriana, and it feels like the crystal talking stick is still calling me. I have been exploring, I did a meditation last night on trust and surrender, surrendering into trust. And one thing that was said was that you don't have to know what trust is in order to experience trust. There isn't a necessity to refer to the past as what that is. And that to me was an important turning point in realization that, oh, trust beyond what I've ever known trust to be. What would that feel? Trust beyond what I even know trust would be. What would that be? To feel trust beyond what I can imagine trust to be. And I've been exploring the question I asked of Swamiji at an ashram in Portland. The will to live for the world. Where is that located? How do we find it? How do we access it? How do we activate it? Like the world itself, as a being, has a will to live. So the Swami said, well, I can't tell you where it is. You have to find it in deep prayer and meditation. And that where I found is deep in the heart, where the heart isn't a separate thing you possess like my heart. The heart is one heart, and it just brings me to tears that are poignant, and it's the only word I come to that describes almost a bittersweet, painful joy, like giving birth. And in that, looking and wanting so much to find the will to live for the world. I came to know this place of the urge to come alive. Like a little baby in a womb going through a birth canal. Like, whoa, what's stronger than going, I give up, I'm not doing this? What's that urge from that life that doesn't even recognize itself to be a life in this world, that has the urge to live? And what I'm finding just in these moments, and really started with the Lion Gate opening July 26th, and it's Lion's Gate is the 8/8 when it closes. So this opening has been quite profound energetically. And what started is almost this almost a panic of like what really started running into this not wanting to live. All the resistance to actually wanting to live and be in this world and have a life, and feeling it even as my personal life is just fine, so but still feeling this panic for the world. Like, and the more I moved into wanting to feel that urge to come alive, the more I was feeling the panic and the resistance to it. And I once asked Ken Wilber, right after Korea had tested his nuclear bomb, and I didn't know that at the time. I just felt the reverberation through the world, this angst that was like a shock. And I said, Ken, if I can feel it at this level, there must be something I can do about it at this level. He said, oh, yeah, right. Good point. Yeah. So we talked about different techniques and things. And I wanted to find what was the most effective way to influence, to shift at a deeper level that would transmute at the level that we're feeling it. So for those who feel it, as I'm even speaking to it, you know what I'm saying, you know what that feeling is. And as we welcome in the feeling, really allowing it to be here and allowing the feeling, the sensitivity of the field that feels it, and then be willing to let it go, to be the conduit of the feeling and allow it to go, allow it to just breathe and release for the world. Thank you for your assistance in wanting the world to live. I am complete.
This is Julie, and weaving that thread back into the piece of trust. I had an experience last week that I felt was so profoundly moving and beautiful. I met a new friend, and his example of modeling this, there are no words. I'm just like welling up with emotion myself in this moment. He literally has had a relatively new awakening, but he's developed what he calls living in resonance, whereas every moment and every experience and every decision is calibrated on the life that he feels in the moment. And he describes the resonance as that life. Where is the aliveness? And he calibrates everything from that place of aliveness. And he's doing amazing things on the planet and going where led, and bringing forth really amazing new tools for all of us to really experience this aliveness from this place of trust and from this place of resonance. And it gives me hope, as every moment we are all co-creating from this impulse of creation and bringing ourselves back into that aliveness through resonance and emergence, and really trusting this impulse of creation that's moving through everything on the planet. This impulse of creation is not only moving through us and our consciousness, it's moving through everything, our trees, our waters, the rocks, the animals. It's moving through everything, this lion's gate, our moon. So I just want to bring that piece of hope and inspiration from my new friend as he calibrates every moment from resonance, which he defines as our aliveness. And I'll show you my beautiful crystal. That was a gift that I got last week. Isn't it beautiful? Lit up. And I'm
so beautiful. This is Kundi, California. I've been working with the grandmothers, Great Grand Council of the Grandmothers, and casting the net of light. And I've cast it. They say the mother is returning now. That's why the feminine is rising. There's no longer a need to live in a motherless world, cut off from the power and beauty of your own nature. We have come to awaken you to who you are. We can trust that. Walking this path with us will not be difficult, because our path does not lead to suffering. The path your world is on does. As consciousness of your place in the net awakens and becomes stable, you may feel the effervescence from the lighted net moving through your veins of your body, for it is within and without you, and encompasses the whole earth within and without and beyond. And each woman's heart is a jewel in the net that lights up and sends out, but what goes out comes back, twice-fold, 1,000-fold. You're sending light from your heart through the strands of the net, noticing how love and light follow your thought, moving into the world. And it's that simple. Just thinking it, it is so. You are more powerful than you have ever imagined. Trust that. It is your own heart that generates the light of this net, and your thought of connection with the net of light that transmits it. Breathe into that. Sending light through the network takes place effortlessly. Trust that. No sooner do you think it than the light moves. You experience the transmission of light along the increasingly lighted network that you are awakening, supporting, and which in turn supporting you. You are part of that net of light, a living system that supports the earth. It is your own heart that generates the light of this net, and your heart pumping light with each beat that sends it forth. And if you choose to give through your heart, you will receive through your senses, and by this meditation on the net of light, goodness of every kind will be multiplied throughout the world. Trust that. I love you all.
Henry, we can't hear you.
Is that better? Okay. Sorry. So part of me is kind of observes or is brought to different words. And I noticed in the word trust, there is in the first three letters, the word true. And kind of connected to I brought the ST to state. So that is, we're trusting, we're connecting with our true state. And I wanted to kind of bring in, or was drawn to, a couple of people that I met when I was at Sunrise Ranch, connecting with Barbara, Connie Marlowe, and Andrew Bailey. And they wrote a book. They do films, but they wrote a book that's called The Trust Frequency. And so what we're speaking about is we're moving to the place that they talk about. And I'll just read the first part. The choice to move into trust frequency triggers a shift to an elevated state of being, individually and collectively. Once we learn to access this state of peace, love, beauty, and abundance, we find ourselves operating at a completely different vibratory rate where the laws and the rules are different. Wisdom, prosperity, and enlightenment are the order of the day. We are happy. How do we get here? We shift our consciousness. And in the book, it's actually 10 assumptions for the new paradigm. So it's just realizing that we have been based on 10 assumptions in our current state and over the past period of time. And so it's opening to new assumptions, or it's opening to ones that are more connected to our true state. And so I'm not speaking too long. So the first assumption, I just want to just give you a sample of the first assumption, is that we live in a conscious, loving universe. There is only love. So we're aware of that. And the current assumption that we're living in, they have that in smaller print down below. The universe is mechanical, lifeless, and utterly unaware of our existence. It contains life on this planet at least, but the universe is not in and of itself alive. It is not conscious. So anyway, so it's opening to what we're speaking about, where we're tuning in on this trust moon to that trust frequency is another way of saying the words that that this whole the good of the whole and all of that, and probably all of our endeavors are based on. So I feel complete.
This is Nahid. As I am aware of what is happening, my heart really celebrating being in this frequency with you all. Beating fast. I surrender and I surrender and I let go. I surrender simply to being. For I am the divine light. And my flame is getting stronger every moment. This beating heart has recently been my guidance. It feels like it's coming out of my chest. I'm hearing this is the celebration of this moment of meeting you all. This is my celebration. This is my celebration. I intended to share what is happening with me these days, but it seems that I am basking in your presence, filling out my cup. As I am aware of what is happening with Iran, that some of you may know, because of the financial crisis that is happening, especially the last 2-3 months, and we are going deeply down, and all my family are there. And as I'm saying that, I am shaking. I've been journeying deep down in that place of mistrust and worrying for my family, for the country, expressing the pain and the sorrow and the compassion for the land. And then I am called back again in the joy, in the beauty, in the loving, in all that I am, that we are. And there is nothing beyond that. And so as I am tuning up with these different frequencies and allowing myself to reside in both of them, what I am receiving is just the aliveness for me, the fullness of my life resides. Then I tune up with the frequency in each moment, in that deep mistrust, and in the lack is not enough, the pain, the darkness, the shadow, and all of that. And as I am feeling the not being present to that, all of a sudden I am surrounded with the greatest beauty that I've never have experienced so far. It just is hallelujah. Is the hallelujah moment. This is what I am experiencing. Is kind of a madness world that I feel I am in the solitude of my own space. I am exploring, and this is my attunement. This is my aliveness. This is the revelation. This is who we are becoming aware of. I'm complete.
I'm feeling to speak into the field. The word that was coming was rapture. And the invitation, which I feel is moving so strongly within this collective this morning, is within this rapture, we embrace all feelings fully felt. The deep, deep sadness, the deep, deep fears, the deep and wild, majestic, expansive celebration of life. Like we're being asked to hold it all. And I'm just so enamored by this collective energy here. Because rapture is really an interesting word. It's not one I really think about ever. But rapture is the fullness of the feeling. It's why we come here, to have this experience, to go deeper into this trust of nature herself speaking through us and as us. You know, that's our soul. That's the embodiment of the whole. That's what I'm getting in this moment. That's the embodiment of the whole. And that's the embodiment of our soul, our collective soul expression. And we're being so urged to take care of that expression as individuals and as a collective, as we receive this showering of grace from the mother. It's what it is, so beautiful, and I'm complete. The talking stick is being passed.
It's Deborah. I'm going to follow up with a little story. This last week I went up to live in west of Boulder, and my neighbor's house, my old neighbor's house, has been leveled, and now it's a holding area for construction materials because they're still working on the road and after the floods of 5 years ago. And it's always a shock to me for me to see that. And the cherry trees that grew there are all gone. And I went on up the gulch where I used to live, and I got out and I saw all the fat choke cherries and all the apples on the tree. And I decided to walk down the railroad grade, which is this magical forest path. And I'm listening to the construction on the road, and I just said, I'm going to go check my old spots and see what's going on. So the first spot I came to was this very overgrown sacred spring where the water comes directly out of the earth in its purest form. And I cut through all the brush, and I climbed up to the source, and I cleared it out, and the water was crystal and pure. And I had a blessing moment with that water. And beneath the spring, there's a little area where I used to come and make offerings to that spring. And somehow, like the earth falls down and has buried all the objects and everything. But somehow, for some reason, this one little wooden African figure of a drummer man had surfaced through the earth. And so I set him up there. And then I continued on my walk, and my next stop was what I call Grandfather Rock. And it's this large wall, large granite wall. And I always go there and I put my forehead on that rock and I lean against that rock and I pray for strength. I mean, I'm listening to the beep, beep, beep of the heavy machinery on the road, and I'm meeting again Grandfather Rock. And then I walk, and suddenly a young buck cuts across the path, this fuzzy, beautiful young buck with fuzzy horns. And I say, "Don't go on to the road." He's headed in that direction. The creek is down below. And I continued to my ancestor altar that I created years ago, of which all that was there was one glass bead and 2 crossed sticks in an X. And I knelt down on that ground and I made some offerings and I conversed with my ancestor. And then I continued on to a place where I used to sit in the creek, and there wasn't a lot of water because it's very dry this year, but I put my feet in the creek and I sat and I walked. I wrote. And then it was time to return, and I decided to return on the path as well. And I'm walking, and suddenly I see this black bear that's heading away from me. She must have perceived me before I perceived her. She has this luxurious black fur. And I stand still for a moment and I just talk to her, because I've run into bears in this part of the woods years ago. And I say, "It's okay, I have to keep going this way, but I mean you no harm." And I couldn't tell. It felt like she was maybe a young mother, and I thought, or else she was an older cub. So I was prepared for other possible confrontation, but she just disappeared back down towards the creek. And my heart started to open about what it must be like to be wildlife in this land where all this change is happening and all this chaos and all this noise. And I was lost in those thoughts and feeling my heart open and continuing walking and talking and just telling all the wildlife I meant no harm, and I was just walking. And suddenly a really small brown bear cuts across my path and runs up the mountain. And I again said, "Oh, I mean you no harm. I'm sorry to interrupt you, and I hope you're okay." And meeting these two bears on this path, I mean, it's always amazing to receive bear medicine, but it was like my heart just opened to all the wildlife on this planet and everything, what's happening. And I felt the deep sadness. And I went back and I talked to certain trees that I had and stopped in certain places I'd done ceremony and went back down to the creek and sat again and wrote again. And what happened for me that day was this land used to be what I considered to be my homeland, but all the construction has made me feel like I'm not safe there. But what happened this last week was that I felt like I rediscovered the sacred thread, which still exists in these changing times and in these places where there's so much transformation that's happening, that's so much technological transformation, but still that thread of the natural world, that thread of the elemental exists there. And I took that with me. And if there's anything I can feel I can still trust, I believe it's that. And I woke up this morning with the thoughts, I am enough. There is enough. There will always be enough. And I'm about to make a large transition, perhaps to the heartland of Missouri, and perhaps to actually set down a home base. And so it is a time in which having trust that it is a benevolent universe is a really wonderful experience and knowing to have. And these are such powerful times in this eclipse window and in the Lion's Gate. I am so grateful for this place, this space, and all of you and all of this energy which exists here and now to tap into and be at one with. So be it. I am.
So before you speak, Nancy, I'm going to just grab the mic because this call usually goes for an hour. So just keep breathing this powerful energy that's moving here. So this is usually the time where we open up and we invite people who haven't shared to share. And given that this call is an hour and we are going to go over a few minutes, the invitation for all those of you, because there are a number of you who haven't spoken and really must be feeling this expression, you know, just like Nahid was sharing, just coming out of our chest. Please keep it to 1 minute so that we can allow everyone to share, feel into their voice, and then we'll close this call for those that are new that we have a special way of closing this call. So I pass the talking stick to Nancy. I see you, and the rest of us are going to just hold the space for those people who haven't shared yet. Aha.
Well, good morning, everyone. This is Nancy out in California. And I'm just having such a wonderful, I guess it would be a practice that I've longed for so long, of being on the frequency of the love, but not going up and down with the emotions. And I'm just really noticing that it's a beautiful place to be. And I'm so enjoying this symphony of vibrations and symphony of silence at sometimes. And it feels very present. And I just wanted to share that I'm here and I'm grateful to be here. Thank you. I'm complete.
Hey everyone, this is June, and as I was listening today, what I began to feel was this sense of flow, and I was looking at how I deal with trust and giving in terms of flow, and seeing how sometimes I'm a little creek that doesn't have a whole lot of giving there, and then times I'm opening up to a river, and even sometimes close to the ocean. And I was thinking how incredible it is when I can feel an ongoing flow, when I don't have a dam in between one moment of trust and another. And so I was thinking, what is a mudra or a symbol that I can use to really remind myself that it is always a flow, and that sometimes the flow is a little less, and sometimes it's just filled with abundance. And what came to me was the star card in the Thoth deck, but any kind of tarot deck. The major arcana, there's a star in the deck, and that star has, I don't know if you can see me, but one arm is up to above, and one arm is down, giving. And it's a constant reminder that if I can keep that flow of receiving trust and receiving love and giving it at the same time, and not have to stop in between to decide whether it's safe or it's right or it's anything else, that I can stay in that field of trust and flow and love and grace. And so today has been just a wonderful reminder to me of how important it is for me to stay in that flow, and how to do it. And thank you all so much for reminding me so deeply today. Aho.
This is April. This is the first Zoom call I've been on. Hello, Shelley. I'm so happy to be here. I live off grid. It makes it really hard to be on a video call, but in joining with you all this morning and being able to hear the vibration that I feel and see it come out of you is such a beautiful experience for me. The 8-8 gate. I am a day keeper. I don't even know what that means, but I know it's brought me to all kinds of circles. That is how Shirley found me. The 8, the flow of the 8 is something that is so prevalent that goes through. I have a toroidal copper circle that sits in my circle, and there is a flow around the world that runs through my space. And even though where I live is really small, I have a very small reach in the world, but yet the whole world, so many of you have found me and have welcomed me into your space, and to share your hearts and feel that the flow and the center and the trust and everything. One thing about the 8, there's always the center point. And what I have done in my life is try to stay in that center. You're involved in the flow. You have the coming in, you have the going out, but you can stay in the center, in that 0 point of wholeness of heart and self, and being one with the mother, being one with all of creation at that one moment, in your little place that becomes part of the big and the whole and the all. And I just want to thank you all. I will look forward to every time I can catch you and say hello, and find me on Facebook. I'm very, very open to bringing the world into my little space. And thank you for this. Thank you, Shelley. Aho.
This is Marianne, and I'm not in Hawaii. I'm in Boulder. So it's not actually that early here. But I was involved for several hours this morning in a creation, and so my mind was very busy. But my spirit said, stop the busyness, get on this call. And I just want to thank everybody because I feel so enriched. And I know that the work that I'm in the middle of right now has been touched. I have to get back to my computer, but the whole trusting, giving, reminding myself that what I'm doing is a giving. And Shelley, your first words about creation were so significant that I was feeling bogged down in sort of doing some things that I've done again and again. And I'm going to get on my bicycle now, which I told myself I didn't have time to do before this call. And I'm going to allow the creativity to flow and maybe have something new to give in my program. So thank you all for your deep and beautiful sharing and the vibration that has been created for the world. And April, it doesn't matter where you are. I can feel your vibration and everybody else is here. So mahalo.
And I'll say aloha also from Boulder. What a great way to start a Monday. And to be with all of you, to be at home and just be at a place to check in, have a little recharge, and then go out and do what's mine to do. So it's just what a blessing to hang out with you guys, all of you, for your, I don't know, our commitment and energy and working effortlessly for the good of the whole, and all that you do, Shelley and Julie and everybody here, Henry. So I just appreciate all of you, and thanks for lightening me up. So aloha.
This is Michelle, and I'm going to say good morning to everyone and great gratitude for the reminder that, the fear that we feel and that can sometimes encompass us is actually meant to be that informant of the importance of why we live from a platform of love, and the importance of all of us living that louder, more loudly, so it can really drown out that fear, so fear can actually move to its proper place of being an informant to run from the tiger, but not to get eaten by it. And I think that's what I'm so grateful for, is that reminder today that really coming to this place of a platform of love is just empowering and inspiring to go out and do that more boldly and courageously every day with wherever I end up being. So thank you.
Good morning, everyone. This is Karen from Costa Rica. This call has been such a blessing since I was invited to find it. Thank you, Ariana. Been so many synchronicities in the past few days of reminders, and this one on trust is a big one. Trust has been my biggest challenge. As much as I've worked on that, it still can be a challenge for me. I live my life listening to directions from a higher source every moment of every day. Yet many years ago, it was pointed out to me that as much as I did that, I still didn't trust that I was totally supported by the universe. And they were right. And I've been working on that ever since. And I still have my moments, and I've had some recently. And this past quite a few days now, it's been one message after another to remind me, to pull me back to where I need to be, where I'm meant to be more my best good, so I can be of the greatest good of the whole. and for the whole. And so this has been outstanding. I have a kind of a request, suggestion. Don't know if it's possible, but this call is so strong and so powerful and seems to go so quickly where other calls, trust me, don't. I was wondering if it was possible to extend this call, to keep this flow going till everything that comes to people gets through the field, that resonant field comes through and can be shared. And I don't know if this call is recorded or not, but boy, I would love to be able to hear some of this again. So I don't know how any others feel about that, but an open-ended call with this resonant field, oh, what might come through and show up. Oh my God, I can only barely imagine. So it's just a thought, but I hope you'll entertain it. And again, I'm very, very grateful. Complete for now.
I'll speak to that in a minute, but let's just give Kathy Roberts. Kate, do you want to jump in, say hi, and then we'll.
Greetings, this is Kathy in South Dakota, and I love this vibe of trust because I just think it's so important as we evolve further and get to know each other. We have to have this deep trust, and the more we gather, the deeper it gets. And just, yeah, I'm here, I'm listening, not real emotive today. But so return the crystal and talking stick, or the stone today.
All right, so let's all take this scrumdiddlyumptious breath, this deep, resonant, living resonance, as what was being said earlier. So, believe me, we've talked about aspects of what has been shared, but for right now, we will let you know more. Just keep showing up here and letting people know that are looking for this experience on Monday. And yeah, we'll probably have to at least go 15 minutes longer. So we'll let you know. And so for those that are new, we have a really fun way of ending this call. And so this liquidiousness of love that everyone has been so beautifully expressing, now we have the opportunity to really send it out through the field. And just as what was being spoken about, just visualize this web of light, these song lines around the earth connecting to so many people that just need just a drop of this to feel that sense of hope and love. So we end the call with a simple, it's really just a mantra of yum, but we send it out and invite you all to take your phones, unmute yourself. I'm so I can hardly talk anymore. I was like, what? So,
Shelley, can I say something real quickly?
So I want to, Oriana, please let's let it go and let's hold on to it, but let's let it.
The gateway is all. The 8-8 I was getting, it's the complete opening. It's not the closing. It's the dilation. Thanks. Okay.
Yeah. This is a never ending.
Dilation of the womb. Oh my God.
That's it.
The birthing of the new.
Okay. Let's take this into our day. Woohoo!
Yum.
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 Yum. Yum. Yum.
Yum.
Yum. Yum.
Yum.
Yum. Yum. Yum. Yum.
Mwah.